Three, two, one, on the spot. I have a goal for these videos, and that is to just hear my cat. Let's just get used to talking and blabbing on about shit. Trying to make this more of a journal thing rather than writing all the time. I feel like I do better when I mix things up. Well, I shared my last video with a few people, and I got a request. My brother Alex asked me to talk about movies. Kind of a broad subject. That's Giovanni. I guess I could just blah 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 about movies. I remember my first movie, and it was when I was in diapers. Yes, I was that young. I have tons of memories from the days I was in diapers. Getting baths in sinks at my grandmother Joyce's house. I remember my Aunt Tanya changing my diapers. I remember just learning to walk. Dude, it took such an effort to get up to my feet. It was friggin' exhausting. And we had this black lab dog. His name was Sam. Fucking drove me crazy because I didn't have walking down yet, right? So I struggled to my feet. It took all my energy and focus and concentration, and it was very difficult. I might be holding this thing too close, but it was very difficult. And that big motherfucker would just walk up to me, bump into me, and knock me over. He was so excited that I got up that he'd come over and just like bang into me, knock me over. This is when I lived out on Catchpole. So I was this age, approximately. This foreshadows my movie experience, my very first movie experience that I remember. My mother dropped me off to be babysat at this house. I don't know who these people are. We since talked about it. She knows who they are. Hopefully, right? But she drops me off to be babysat. I don't know what babysat is quite yet, but I get left with this family, and they're a big family. It seemed like there was probably like 8 of them. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't remember any of their faces. I just remember there was one who is like super handicapped in like a really elaborate wheelchair. Anyways, get into the movie. It's nighttime. Everybody's sitting in a semicircle around the TV in a dark room. The only light's coming from the TV. And I get placed in the semicircle. And I would come later in life to know the movie it was that I then first saw. And it was Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. And the scene, this dog's making me anxious. He's back here whining about something. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. In the scene, mind you, I don't quite know what movies are yet. I see a screen. I don't know what screen is, but I'm watching Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. And I remember so much the scene where Jason punches that boxer kid. They're fighting on top of the roof. Jason punches that boxer kid in the head so hard that his head goes flying across the screen. And I just remember feeling that jolt. I don't know. It wasn't a good experience. Laugh about it now. Probably dealing all sorts of unconscious trauma. Oh. More about movies. I've been on a certain kind of kick lately. I watch movies when I have lunch or I have dinner. So I'll watch a movie like 20 minutes at a time. I can't really bear to sit down an hour and a half every time to watch a fucking movie. It's too long. But I like watching movies this way because I see it in chunks, see it in doses. I can't help but think about what I watch throughout the day, so I reflect on it as I go along. It actually helps me feel more involved in the movie because I like to analyze movies and watch with purpose. Derby, go back from whence you came. But I've been watching a certain genre of movie. Oh my goodness. I guess this is one of the learning curves. Don't make videos sitting on the floor with animals in the house or in the room, whatever. Well, hey, it's distracting me. But I hadn't been on a movie kick in a while. So I'm glad to be back on the trail. And I owe that to my brother Alex. I'll tell you why. I love movies. I watch all sorts of different kinds. I've seen so many. And I think I've seen so many really, really good ones that when I see just any old new movie and it's not even like an eighth as good as like some of the stuff I've seen, I kind of just lose interest because it can be really difficult to find those bangers like El Topo, Santa Sangre, Fondo Ilis, The Holy Mountain, all Alejandro Jodorowsky movies. You're not going to see anything better than that in a theater, I assure you. But I like all sorts of other stuff too. Like I like John Waters movies, Serial Mom, Cecil B. Demented. Cecil B. Demented is a very important movie. But I like that kind of stuff. I even like things that are not the conventional movie formula, which is 3 acts. First half hour is exposition, background story, who the characters are, what the conflict is, all that. Second act, them dealing with the problem. And then the third act, all the pieces coming together, the resolution. That's all fucking movies you're going to see. They all follow that. That's why they all seem so alike in some ways. And that's okay. I love stories. Movies are stories. It's an effective way to do the thing. But I also like genres such as avant-garde, which, all those Alejandro Jodorowsky movies I just mentioned, they're that. And you say, what is avant-garde? And watch the movies. Exactly. It's like there's no rules. Whatever the filmmaker wants to do, that's what's done. They don't lean on a story. It could be just the randomest stuff. And I like that. It causes you to think more. It's more engaging. I think there's like some kind of Andy Warhol movies like that. But I like mainstream comedy stuff too. Happy Gilmore, all that early Adam Sandler stuff. But I also like other types of art film, like Kenneth Anger. I love all of his movies. I've watched them all a whole bunch. Keep talking about movies, huh? I like movies. I watch movies. Oh, but that kick I've been on. That's what all this rant was. The rant was my exposition. This is my background. I like all sorts of film. A, B, fucking D, E, and F. But I just feel like I was kind of losing hope in newer films. And I'm sure there's great films being made all the time. But the challenge is, in the age of our present technology with Netflix, Prime, uh, Discovery, like Paramount, HBO, all these different streaming services, YouTube, not Venmo. What's the other? There's another YouTube type one. Starts with a V. I don't know. Vimeo. Yes. And there's so many tons of free movie apps. And the thing is, there's just so many damn movies. To sniff out some good ones, it can be a challenge. But I just saw a lot of turds, like the Crow remake. I feel like to puke. Mm, but my brother showed me this. He insisted I watch this movie. I'm fucking riddled with mosquito bites. He he encouraged me to watch this movie in mid '80s movie called Adam. He didn't tell me much about it except that it was a John Walsh story. And deep in my mind, I knew that I knew that name. I could not put a face with it. I just knew I knew that name. But I wanted to not muddy up what I was about to see with some perception about whoever this person was. It's a blessing to forget who John Walsh was, because I just saw this through a whole different lens. But I watched this movie. It was god awful. I mean, it was a very well produced film. The acting was aces. Everything was skillfully done, excellent, and all that. It was bad because it was just about a little boy who got kidnapped. And holy shit, boy. That's hard to sit through some of that. I didn't even want to finish it. Um, God, it was so fucking real. Um, you you feel for the people. You go through the whole experience with them, and it's hard to bear, you know. But it's man, it's just so damn real. So this kick that I've been seeking out other movies that really deal with the human being, in real unpleasant real life scenarios, loss of a parent, uh, abusive parents, death in the family. Um, so I started seeing all these movies, like When She Says No, or Firstborn. It has Corey Haim in it, and that guy who played RoboCop. Um, Dealing with real life situations, it was a powerful reminder that movies really can educate and foster empathy and compassion and that sort of thing, and take a long, hard look at fucking how nasty life can be, you know? Instead of going to the movies or the $5 bin or a red box or something and paying for a piece of entertainment. It's great to be entertained. I told you a moment ago, I love comedy. I love laughing. I like a good suspense movie. I like to be captivated and involved in what I'm seeing, right? So it's great to be entertained. But these other sorts of movies, um, I feel like they shouldn't be ignored. And it draws me in. Like, I've been watching like nothing but stuff that I feel like mimics like real life. So what was the firstborn about? Ah, yeah. I asked the question, now I gotta answer it. It's about a family. There's a mother with two sons. One's probably about 16. The other probably 10. They go to school. Mom's great. She provides for them, takes care of them. But their parents are divorced and their dad's a businessman and he's only barely ever in the picture. Shows up once in a while, takes them out for dinner, brings them back. See you in 6 months, sort of deal. Well, mom gets lonely and she meets a guy. His name is Sam. He looks like an alright fellow. He's camped. So she invites him over. Sons meet him. He makes a decent impression. Seems likable enough. And so he ends up moving in with this family. And incrementally, tension begins to build between the sons and him. It's all good at first. He even buys the older one a dirt bike. And all sorts of things then are being revealed about this guy. Kids are trying to sleep. There's some really good country music being played full blast in the middle of the night. They kind of look down the stairs and see this guy doing cocaine off the pinball table. He brought his own pinball table. So now he knows he's into drugs. They go. The older son goes snooping around in his room when he's out, and he ends up finding like 10 huge bags of cocaine. And now the mom's starting to do drugs, and she's smoking cigarettes, and now she's really crabby and not her former shining self. Then there's all sorts of strife building. Kids are getting in fights at school. Anyways, this guy starts putting his hands on kids and whipping their ass and calling them bitches and stuff like that. I ain't gonna give the end away. It's a super good movie. Well, this video is long enough. Let's see how this microphone works. Peace out, sauerkraut.